are people who are trying to fix the world, as their organization is called, Fix the World. And that the idea of free energy is not dead, and that some people are trying to develop it and create it. So, as we see, those people are trying to, as we say, beat the system. And how can we beat the system and improve the technology? We need to find something that we can use as an alternative. Because if we fight the energy that makes pollution and it's costly, just by saying, oh, it is a bad energy, let's fight the nuclear power, let's fight the oil power, let's fight, oh, that's bad. But we're not providing any alternative. Then that will just make the system stronger. And that is why I think we need myths of Nikola Tesla. Thank you.
Okay, we have about 30 minutes for question and answers. So who'd like to start?
I have a question.
Okay.
You mentioned earlier about the rotating magnetic field that you use at the World's Fair. What other uses does it have other than standing and making?
And that precise invention was just to show, to send a message to the science society, because the Columbus X presents that some people would say, oh, but that's not some special invention because it's already made. But if it's not made, then everyone will think it's special. So he wanted to just, and that means Columbus X. So he wanted to make exact Columbus X. So, but that magnetic field he already used in his electromagnetic motors and the generators before. Much of implementation of that energy and of that magnetic field, and he already made it before that.
I was just wondering what the uses are for.
Yeah, like
motors.
Mostly generators.
Well, the easiest one is the dynamo.
Yeah, generator or dynamo.
You know, when you're on the bicycle and you're using the laser.
Or a dynamo starter.
So if you have that.
Yeah, and about it's a magnetic field, but as you said, magnetic field. Tesla wanted to use the Earth's magnetic field, because I said when he made a tower, and this would turn Earth in a huge dynamo, in a huge generator that would produce free energy. So maybe in a way, I'm not a physicist. Is anybody a physicist here? Yeah, you are a physicist. Maybe you can explain that. Computer science program. But
there are several sources of energy. The first one is the magnetic field of the core, which creates a magnet like polarized south and north. So this is constant magnetic field slowly changing. And the other is produced by sun charged particles which come into Earth ionosphere, and those which create aurora. And these are actually, we get flux of the charged particle on the sunny side of the Earth, and so this changes.
So that magnetic field is between ionosphere and Earth crust.
The Earth magnetic field is quite strong enough to deflect the charged particles toward the polar regions, and the charged particles don't hit the more temperate regions, only in the polar regions. Actually, the Earth's magnetic field is stronger than that one which is produced by particles. But it's very complex to find the way to feel, to censor the small fluctuations of the charged particles which are in ionosphere. And I think this is something about what you say, the dynamo which sensing ionosphere fluctuations.
Yeah, but so what I was reading is that he just tried to use that magnetic field and and if he would build a big enough tower, he would turn Earth in a big dynamo, and that would produce energy.
And the mystery that no documents, no one to explain what exactly how it
Yeah,
works.
and the mystery about that is that there was a fire in his laboratory, and a couple of years before he died when he was 87, Nikola was a little bit, maybe because the age hit him, maybe he was saying some things like he would make a weapon of mass destruction, a weapon that can hit and destroy any point in the earth. So the American government confiscated all these papers, and so that's why it's a mystery now. Is that really possible? But all of his patents are patented, and they can be found like
By
this,
whom?
like this patent, which is
They say about how much it would cost to build one of these machines?
they mentioned all the necessary parts that you need, and but what is the cost of free energy?
But anyway, the tower
Not just a generator.
Yeah.
It looks like it would cost maybe $1,000.
Yeah, I'm not sure, but you can download this document.
$1,000 US. I wanted to ask you about the remote control. He was like making boats and cars move or simple things like that. Is that using radio waves? Was he using radio waves?
Yeah.
Like he had taken
Again,
Mark.
I'm saying like I'm taking the philosophic aspect of why are we not building those stuff now that he patented a long time ago. But yeah, I think he was the first radio wave control.
Because that's how he was also wanting to send electricity, right? Was using radio waves.
Again, because that patent is not finished. So about sending electricity so I'm not sure too long distance, but he transmitted electricity to, as I said, to 40 kilometers apart, where all the light bulbs exploded, 40 kilometers range. And is it radio waves or some other specific?
Maybe it's probably not.
frequency?
Probably not
Probably
radio.
It's a low frequency current that can be transmitted through atmosphere.
I have a question. You mentioned that he has several patents belonging to himself. Why he didn't become rich on them? All those patents were shared with some companies.
Yeah, so he
If you don't market the product, there's no money coming in. You can have thousands of patents.
because
If you don't market
his
the
main products, his main ideas were to develop free energy. So, and I think when he was so excited. He made the tower, Water Cliff Tower. He got 150,000 of American dollars, and at that time, 150,000 is maybe now around $10 million. And from J.P. Morgan to build that tower, and he got money before, so he was getting a lot of. So his patents and his inventions maybe were too expensive at that time to be made. But I think it was a big no-no to the sponsors to sponsor his work when he said that he wanted to make the energy free. So I think at that time everybody just and he died alone with pigeons.
You have to understand that there was a post with his, let's say, letters that he was communicating. I can't remember now exactly who, but he was sending letters from the America to, I don't know, either Croatia or Serbia, which were like private letters, I don't know, family or friends.
He never married. He never had kids. He was completely eccentric. He existed only to create more and more and more. So like money, although he needed cash for the research, money represented nothing of value to him. Like, so like, when everything is written in Croatian and Serbian, so like it's kind of like hard. Like it's like when you read what he is like communicating to the other person, he's like basically what he is saying is like he's like talking to himself in a completely another form. He's not even like it sounds like he's not human. He's just like missing himself out of the equation. My life is insignificant. I'm doing only these things because I need to complete more. It's like a little bit like even on borderline of crazy. And especially as Marko said, like when you see like a human that's like possible, he is possible to create all these like inventions and stuff. Like it scares away the people. You know, like money or nothing. They were just like taking away all of his things that they could grab their hands on. Like museum in Zagreb before the Civil War in like the 1990s, was rampaged by American troops who just came into the museum and took everything that they could take that was there documented Tesla-wise, because they said, no, this is a matter of like national security, because all these documents are at risk to be destroyed. And basically after the war, where are these documents? No, these are like classified, these are like the property of the USA. So the thing is, for example, they took everything that they could get, the blueprints. There were like a lot of things. My school was like Nikola Tesla school. Crazy professors that were like alive during that time, they were like trying to protest, but we were like not able to do anything about it. So like in the school, like Nikola Tesla school, high school, we had like tons of his like inventions, Tesla coils. We were playing with them. Like most of these like things that we tried out. Like I've seen the Tesla coils, like how they work, how the electricity works, but like we don't have it anymore. We were robbed of all the knowledge that Tesla left behind. And yeah.
So your question is why he went bankrupt. So I didn't state it clearly, but when he made the hydroelectric power plant at Niagara Falls, he was promised for every horsepower of electricity that he generates, I think $1 American. And because the sponsor, Westinghouse, didn't, because nobody was creating that amount of energy before ever in that world. So this and his company, the Westinghouse company, went to crisis. So it was impossible to pay Tesla that money because it was ridiculous. It would generate enormous amounts of horsepower. So that would make Tesla billion, not million. So he just what shows his personality, why any man who has that personality would go bankrupt in today's world, in not today's world, but in that world, capitalistic world, because so he teared up his contract where he would earn billions of dollars, millions of dollars, because he just didn't care about that. So if he did that, of course he's gonna go bankrupt before he dies.
So he played American Joe.
Wasn't the same guy supporting
No.
in a hotel? He was living in an apartment surrounded by pigeons.
Yeah, he lived in a
Being
hotel.
supported by that guy, so later he tore up the contract. Because he was helped earlier by the same guy.
Yeah.
And they were good friends.
Yeah, they were good friends. So
he
the contract
realized
still existed. Westinghouse would have to pay enormous amount of money to Tesla. But Tesla just said, it's okay. No, you don't have to pay anything. He just refused all the profit from the first hydroelectric power plant ever built in the world.
That plant still works today?
Yeah, I don't know if it's the exact But
Yeah,
there is a hydroelectric plant in Niagara Falls. Niagara Falls are in Canada, right? Canadian.
The Canadian Falls are the more beautiful ones.
And
Let me guess, you're American.
The
So that's
American
why-
falls are ugly.
that's why it shows you personality of a person who even if he got money from patents, he would still probably go back.
So this generator that you now have, they got a story that happened in Croatia, but concerning this, I'm really interested. How would Taiwan react? For example, I don't know, we create now 10 of these, and we start using them. So basically, I would just go home and cut off the electricity wires that are connected to the city grid and basically generate my own power. So how would the government react to losing their customers? For example, I know a guy that worked in a Rade Končar company in Croatia, which is the only company that's producing these types of generators. He was a highly educated engineer. They fired him. He said, okay, no problem. They went home, cut off the grid, the entire house, built up his own generator somehow. There's a story online. And the power company came to his house and said, how can you do this? And well, I'm not paying you anymore. This is my thing, it's working, and I'm powering my TV, everything else. And unfortunately for him, there were no laws that they could take it apart. The police came, fire department came in, and they said, no, you cannot have this kind of an appliance in your yard. And he said, how can you say that? This is mine. This is I built a windmill for my kids, and now you're going to say I have to take it apart. So basically, he is, even now, they couldn't take it apart because it was private property. But he's supplying his house with free energy. Even now.
Free,
Yeah. So he's not paying the government anything anymore.
Maybe
So,
it's the same Tesla.
I don't know what he did, but
If I may say, I saw some video online. It's very easy. You take a battery, you take a thing that turns, and you take a dynamo on the other side. The dynamo creates more power than it actually uses to make it turn. That's it.
well,
You have free power.
doesn't even matter what they did. But the thing is, what will the government do if you have
It's called
2 million people?
universal. That's the egg spinning around. That's the universal motor. It's all. So that's it. Creates free power.
Yeah, so that's an interesting story.
What would happen if Taipei just from 5 million
So
people,
as I
4
said,
million
these guys
people
they
not paying?
came to Taipei on 31st of March, actually. So 2 weeks ago they were here in Taipei, and they were teaching Taiwanese students how to develop this free energy generator. And so I don't know how the government react. But I had a story because it's in
But the problem is free or not free. It's not the main issue. The main issue we have today is about not polluting the earth. Okay? If you have something that doesn't pollute the earth, even if it costs a little bit and it doesn't pollute the earth, it's not like in Taiwan. Mainly the electricity comes from burning coal, which is really bad. But today it's very bad. It's almost worse than nuclear, because they're burning coal all day long to make power. So if you have something, even if it costs a little bit, it's not about being free. That even if the government takes a little bit of tax, if they will make them happy, but at least it's clean power. For me, that's the most important thing today: is clean power.
Let me try to answer for you, Marko. I think it depends on the government. Canada's government allows people to generate their own electricity at home and then sell it back to the power company. Taiwan, maybe not yet. So maybe these people are trying to come in and tell students, look, the more you start working on this, the more likely it is that in the future the Taiwan government will be likely to do that. Because the electricity production in Taiwan is state-run. So I couldn't imagine they would so easily want to do it. And I think in Canada it's state-run also, no?
Provincial?
Provincial, okay. Because in the United States, there are so many power companies that it's really hard for the government to say, you can do it everywhere. It's only in certain districts, certain power companies will allow you to do it.
Yeah, I know about this. Like, you can heard about in Canada, like when you have solar panels and stuff, you can sell it off the back.
But that's pretty new. I think that's in the last 5 or 10 years.
I heard about it already, but this is quite different. Like, this guy built just an apparatus that works. There are no solar panels.
But I think he was lucky because in Czech they didn't have any laws saying that you had to take it down. I think it's not like that in some countries. I'm sure they would just be like,
nobody did it
take
before,
it down.
so there are still like vacancies for the laws and stuff.
Can I ask something?
Go for it.
I don't think what you're talking about is creation of perpetual mobility.
Yeah, it's not.
You know, a machine that starts and never stops. And I don't think that modern physics acknowledges that such state can actually be
Yeah, this is not a
made.
perpetual.
It's not a perpetual mobility. Why it's not perpetual mobility? If it starts and it never stops, it is.
No.
The cars were down in 100 years. That's very safe to say it's perpetual mobility as far as we can make it to be perpetual mobility. It is.
It's
It
a
is
hydroelectric
perpetual
plant perpetual mobile.
Hmm?
Because I say perpetual mobile is a device that creates energy from nothing.
From nothing.
Yeah, but it doesn't create energy from nothing. It's creating energy from the atmospheric charge, and so it's like it's taking the energy from somewhere and just
I mean,
transfer it
perpetual
somewhere.
mobility is physically, by the laws of physics, impossible. That's
Yeah.
Yes, but
And you need initial energy to run this machine.
it's the same as like solar panels, right? You're using the solar energy to create you use light, sunlight, to produce solar energy, right? So when you use this machine, you're using the right, exactly. So it's not like you're creating energy from nothing. There is already something going on there. It's just about
Just taking
harnessing
it
that
and
energy and
using it.
making it useful for us to use.
tapping.
Yeah.
Like, yes, you meant solar energy. Solar energy or this is so. When I say free energy, it means that it's free from our human perspective. We don't need
You don't have to pay a bill every month.
in money, like currency. We don't need to pay. It's not free. It's not from nothing. It's taken from the atmosphere. Yeah. So these are very. The point is that this machine is possible. So because they made a prototype and it's working. It's creating free energy.
Why nobody's getting a Nobel Prize for that?
They said why the electric companies. Somebody asked why electric companies are not.
Maybe too simple of a machine. Doesn't have deserve
Tesla already got his Nobel Prize.
Built this, they improved it.
No, but this kind of machine can completely revolutionize our existence on this planet.
But then how, like, if the human society had this idea 100 years ago, and when Tesla got rejected for further fundings, he said, "I'm going to make energy free for everybody," and he just got rejected any fundings anymore.
Of
So
course, yeah.
if that's 100 years ago, I think now we are even, I say, greedier and more developed by how to control people than 100 years ago. So of course now it's not going to be made.
I think that brings me to my question. You've been studying about this and about you're coming it from the philosophy of why is it maybe good to have quote unquote free energy. But who are the detractors? Are there you come across people saying, "Oh, this won't work because," or "This is not true because," or "We don't want this because"?
Yeah, there's always people who are saying this energy that is created, the amounts are not big enough to supply the demand.
Right, 40 kilowatts is not a lot of power.
Yeah, but that's a small prototype.
Right. Keep going. Sorry, keep
I
going.
was saying Tesla was claiming that the tower that was 50 meters high and had a 20 meters long dome, like at the top. He said that just that thing, he can make free energy and send it anywhere in the world. And now we have we have buildings who are taller than 50 meters now. Yeah, so none of those towers are getting any. There's not a big project. They're all independent, small groups project for developing those free energy. But none of the. I didn't notice any electrical company like the biggest one, the one that is having millions of customers, is saying, "Oh, now we're doing free energy. We're gonna give money to the scientists, to the researchers who are researching free energy, and not the ones who are researching how we're gonna get more money. And how we're gonna."
I mean, but it's awkward because we have smartphones that took the world by storm in a matter of months, right? So, I mean, technology, if it works and if it's good, everybody buys it, everybody takes it.
Yes.
So this, why nobody takes, why
Because
nobody...
smartphones can only improve those companies having more profit. Because
You need power for your smartphone.
because you need power for your smartphone,
this is
and we're still
state-owned
using that
company.
source power, so that will just increase their profit.
Create a
Because you're competing against the energy market, the energy business. They're creating billions and billions of dollars. Nobody's investing into free energy. Free energy is not profitable. And it's not just about the economics of it. It's not about just a couple of companies making money. The whole system is based on companies. They create millions that support governments, that support current political systems. It's a huge network of things. It's like a domino effect.
Control. I know, I mean, that's the most common explanation. It's very common, and I think we all know that explanation. Everybody says, yeah, it's not profitable. But still, I mean, this is so revolutionary, and if it's real, if this really works, and it can be implemented, I mean, the electric distribution in Taiwan is state-owned, as well as it is in many countries. So it's not like some, the state owns monopoly, and those people who work there are not bound by any profit to implement this. It's not so.
They are. The state has contracts with companies that sell them coal and nuclear material. I'm sure they're probably 30, 40-year contracts. They're not like 1-year contracts.
No, but I understand what it says.
Contracts.
If somebody starts to build a prototype of that and it works, why don't you build that?
Yeah.
1,000
So how many
and
people have heard of this project here? Right? And I heard about this only yesterday, and I'm interested in this kind of stuff because my mind is being bombarded with news from reality shows and from the protests in Taiwan. Is going to pass the trade agreement and stuff, and so we're bombarded with the news we have so many things to fight in our life, how to survive, how to get salaries and stuff. We don't have to fight to worry about, okay, we're going to pay our electricity bill $200 a month. We are not very occupied with that because we have more stuff to be occupied with, politics, the reality shows and stuff like that. We are constantly being bombarded. And this thing is boring. That's one of the facts. This thing is
time-consuming, complicated,
very boring. So for most of the people. So of course, for me, it's very logical that this is not being developed.
Here's the thing. This is so it's not like nothing is being done. It is weird that 100 years has passed and nothing's been done on this question. But I think people are doing something about it, and hopefully we'll see a lot more changes in the future. But like mentioned before, it's a lot more complicated than just free energy. It's not about giving the end user like you and me, electricity bills that says zero on it. It's more about that. It's more about the contracts that the energy companies have with other. Maybe your job is dependent on some level in a domino effect on the fact that there's a company there that produces electricity one way or another. And that's the biggest problem because the economy is so complex right now that if you eliminate the energy needs, it's revolutionary. It's not so easy.
Well, I think it's going to take a dedicated group of people, and we'll get it started led by Marko. Let's start making one.
Marko,
having
can
enough
one
knowledge.
house or one apartment have a generator like that just for them?
Yeah.
The smallest is
And how
10
much
kilowatts. That's a bit too much power for one
Basically to
house.
supply their households.
Yeah, I think you be enough.
It would probably supply for one building, 10 apartments, something like that, or more.
But also another thing, like very also, we live in a time with I say most distractions ever. It's like okay, now nobody is holding a smartphone and typing, but try taking a subway or a bus. Nobody's when I got a phone. So I'm trying to say something about free energy, and the government is trying to cut me off.
It's not, for me,
the
problem is not free energy. I think you got it wrong there. It's not the $20 or $30 that you give it to. It's not the issue. The issue is to make clean energy.
Yeah, clean energy.
You can have still one company that their job is to make
Oh, we already have
energy.
solar energy, we have wind energy.
It's not
This
that-
energy would never be
Why is
free
it not
for the end customer.
Why is it not
You
more
still need to
developed?
pay for it because there's people who are building the generators, people who are maintaining it.
Solar
So it will be
energy and
not
wind
free
energy.
for us
That's
as a
clean
user.
energy.
But it's
What's the
clean.
percentage of the use of that today in the whole world?
3%.
What?
Of clean energy that we know today?
Depends where you are.
Not in the world.
Iceland is 95%.
Yeah.
So for example,
That's Iceland. That's the world.
I think it's like 3%, something like that.
So why can it be 95%? That's for me having one company that their job is to make electricity is not a big deal. It's good to have this little thing. Maybe somebody make this machine and sell it to whoever. It's not the issue is to make clean energy.
people are lazy.
People are lazy. The video that the guy made promoting this this idea, I think in 5 days got 4,000 views on YouTube. And I don't know, Kim Kardashian selfie got
10
10
million.
views. So of course we're not gonna
No,
do this.
people have all the worries in their head.
Yeah.
What to wear, what to.
Now more than ever.
And if you check free power, you can see there's a guy who do that. He plugs in a propeller into a dynamo, and then he unplugs it. The thing works by itself. You can plug in more things to it. You can have this time, and that's free power. It's universal.
Yeah, it's possible. Yeah, and I noticed
Let's make one.
in Taiwan there was a lot of protest about nuclear energy. And I'm not familiar what is the program of the protest, but I don't think it's enough that we just protest about this energy, saying this is bad, this is bad. We need to provide some alternative to that energy, and this way we can win. But if we're just protesting here, like this is bad energy, this is bad energy, the companies will just get stronger.
Okay, thank you, Marko.